Well, hello everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. Today's star date is Sunday, July 22nd, 2012. And we'll tell you a report that is the deadliest shooting in American history thus far. It happened to be in Aurora, Colorado, at a movie theater. 14 people are dead and 50 people were injured during the Colorado shooting. And police say that gunmen opened fire shortly after the midnight local time in a theater during the showing of the latest Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises. As you could tell, police ambulances and emergency crews swarmed after the scene after the frantic calls started flooding the 911 switchboard. That is so tragic. And look at this. Authorities removed shooting the victim bodies on Friday, the next day, when 10 people were killed earlier. 2 others died in the hospital, in a local hospital near Denver, and 2 others died in a and 59 people were wounded. Another 59 to be exact. Or police say victims are still being identified and not the families have been notified. And 4 Ohioans were among the elite that were involved in the massacre in Colorado, including, as you can see me. Attaboy. Do not fall. That 27-year-old Matt McQuinn was killed in front of his girlfriend and older brother to shield from the gunfire Friday morning. It was Matt McQuinn's girlfriend, Samantha Yaller, and Nick Yaller, Samantha's brother, was not injured. Another Ohio man, but I go back to Matt McQuinn. He grew up in Springfield, Ohio. He met Samantha Yaller at a Clark County Target, where the two worked together, and they moved to Colorado 8 months ago to pursue a new opportunity with Target in Denver. And the statement was provided by the McQuinn and Yaller families. I'm looking this up on 10tv.com. It's WBNS TV, a CBS affiliate in Columbus, Ohio. I'm really familiar about this. So is WKYC, an NBC affiliate in Cleveland, or WWS, an ABC affiliate in Cleveland, or WCPO, an ABC affiliate in Cincinnati. Not right, but right about the shootings. And here's another Ohioan who has been shot Jane Hankins of Forest, Ohio, was also shot. Hankins was in the next theater from the attack and was struck in the arm by a bullet that went through a wall. He was released from the hospital and expect to return to the Buckeye State tomorrow. That's what they're saying on the news. So I'm going to show you now a couple of videos, and the safety video, what would you do? So probably 3 or 4, depends. So there we go. Hope y'all enjoy this.
Aurora police refused to comment on reports that the suspect, 24-year-old James Holmes, had his hair painted red and called himself the Joker. Police said he was dressed head to toe in body armor and wore a gas mask during the attack. Jennifer Seeger says the suspect pointed a gun directly at her face.
So I just jumped forward into the aisle and curled into a ball and waited for him to go up the stairs.
Police say Holmes fired an assault rifle, a shotgun, and at least one handgun during the attack. Some of those shots went through the walls into another theater. A man in a blood-soaked shirt and a child in a Batman costume were among hundreds who made it out alive. Corbin Dates was sitting in the second row.
I felt the caps from the bullets burn my leg.
The University of Colorado confirmed Holmes was dropping out of a graduate program in neuroscience. Police found explosives in his car and his nearby apartment.
His apartment is booby-trapped with various incendiary and chemical devices and apparent tripwires.
The survivors include a 3-month-old baby.
She got shot when she got shot. She's God watching over us. She's right there.
The suspect's family is cooperating with police and says their hearts go out to the victims. And Colorado's governor called the rampage the work of, quote, a very deranged mind. The suspect is due back in court on Monday. Live in Aurora, Colorado, Teresa Garcia, back to you.
Teresa, thank you, and we'll see you later in the show. Here is everything we've learned so far today about the suspect, James Holmes. He is 24 years old. He was studying neuroscience in a PhD program at the University of Colorado Denver Graduate School, although officials say he was in the process of withdrawing from that program. And this morning, police say he came to the theater with an AR-15 assault rifle, a Remington 12-gauge shotgun, and 2 40-caliber Glock handguns. Cameras caught the shooting suspect's father standing in line at the San Diego airport, leaving for Aurora, Colorado. Robert Holmes had no comment for the reporter. A woman who identified herself as Holmes' mother has reportedly said she's not surprised. We're working to get more information on that later this evening, but others who know Holmes describe him as a loner.
He was laid back, kept to himself, never really talked to anybody. I mean, he was somebody you wouldn't even look at twice walking down the street. Very, very mellow.
And as Teresa Garcia reported, Holmes' first court appearance is scheduled for 8:30 Monday morning. Jerry?
We're learning more about the victims of today's mass shootings. The youngest, a 3-month-old baby. The Department of Defense says 3 members of the U.S. Armed Forces were also wounded in the movie theater shooting. 1 service member remains unaccounted for. 12 people were taken to the medical center of Aurora with gunshot wounds ranging from minor to putting them in critical condition. 3 were treated for chemical exposure, most likely from tear gas. They ranged in age from 16 to 31.
Some damn gas masks for Theater 9. We can't get in it. We need rescue inside the auditorium. Multiple victims. 16, I got 7 down in Theater 9. now.
Those are voice reports. And
Quail are making a come.
here we go. This is the third video.
Tragedy in Aurora. New information
going
about
on
the mass
YouTube.
shooting inside a Colorado movie theater as law enforcement reveals new details about the suspected gunman. Tonight, the burning question about motive remains unanswered. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Kristen Hartman.
And I'm Jerry Reddish. Here's the latest on the victims caught in this crossfire. Police now say 70 people were injured, most of them shot, but a handful had other injuries from the chaos in the theater. Of those 70, 12 people were killed. Authorities removed 10 bodies from the scene today. 2 other victims died at the hospital early this morning. The suspect's booby-trapped apartment in Aurora is 4 miles down the road from the theater. The police chief described what they are up against.
I see an awful lot of wires, trip wires, jars full of ammunition, jars full of liquid, things that look like mortar rounds. We have a lot of challenges to get in there safely.
And bomb technicians will resume the dangerous task of disarming this bomb trap in the morning. 5 apartment buildings have been evacuated. Kristen?
James Holmes may be in custody, but that alone does not answer the big questions. What drove the 24-year-old who stands accused to plan and execute this country's largest mass shooting? The police chief in charge won't speculate.
If we have information about a motive, we would not share it with you. We would let that play out in the course of the criminal prosecution. I won't talk about his admissions.
But the chief did talk about what happened in that theater after midnight. He says Holmes, dressed in black with a gas mask and body armor, threw 2 devices that released smoke or a chemical irritant. Then the shooting began. There will be emotional scars for the victims, their families, and the first responders.
Our cops went through a lot. As I told you this morning, they rushed people out of that theater into police cars.
Back to Holmes. He has an attorney. While he apparently warned police about his booby-trapped apartment early on, the chief says he is not talking now. He's locked up tonight in jail. Officers aren't releasing his mugshot due to the investigation, but reports say Holmes dyed his hair red like Batman's nemesis, the Joker. The first court appearance for him is Monday morning.
My kids were having severe allergy symptoms, but they were afraid of needles and they were afraid of going to the allergist. But we went to Premier.
See what we got here. It's video number 3. Come on, focus. Here we go.
And one bullet actually went through a wall at the theater and hit someone in the next theater. That team was visiting Colorado from Hardin County, right here in Ohio. And that's where 10 TV's A.J. Smith joins us live with details on his injuries and reaction from those who knew him. A.J.?
Well, Jerry, Gage Hankins is from here in Forest, Ohio, but he was in Colorado to meet up with friends from around the country at a conference. A group of people at the conference actually planned weeks in advance to go see this movie premiere.
You say, oh no, not another one. You know, then you find out somebody you know is there and it really hits home.
Eric Hoffman is the superintendent of Riverdale Schools in Hardin County. He says it was shocking to hear recent high school graduate Gage Hankins was one of the injured during the mass shooting in Colorado early Friday morning.
He's a great kid, good family. He's, you know, obviously, you know, he's in 3 sports, you know, and he did all the activities and a good, just all-around good kid.
An innocent victim of the shooting in Colorado to attend a conference with his family and just trying to enjoy a movie with his brother and friends. We spoke to his father on the phone.
He remembers that they were in the movie, and about 25 minutes after the movie started, there was he remember seeing smoke, a popping sound, and he was just thought it was all part of the movie. And then he said his arm felt warm, and he looked down, and they said he'd seen the blood, and he was bleeding.
David Hankins says police believe the bullet came through the wall from the theater next door, and Gage never saw the gunman.
So they took off outside, and he got part way, and says he felt like he was I passed out, so he went down on his left arm and got to catch his breath and looked around. There was more people coming out and leaning against the wall. And somebody he said he didn't know come up and start putting pressure on his arm.
Gage has been in surgery but is in good spirits this evening.
They said should be no long-term effects, so he should be able to do what he always did in the company, you know, in 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, it's good. You know, it's great. You know, they know that he's going to be. I feel sorry for the other families that didn't get such good news.
Now his father tells us that Gage is also thinking of those other families tonight. He is expected to be released from the hospital this evening and planning to leave Colorado on Sunday. His father tells us that what happened will not impact his future plans, like attending the University of Mount Union in the fall and eventually becoming an athletic trainer. Live here in Forest, Ohio, in Hardin County, A.J. Smith, 10 TV News.
Here's other news to tell you about tonight.
Damn it. Here's another video.
Tragedy.
Oh, God damn it. Come on, God damn it. Oh, God. Like something frozen. What? Something might have been. We'll cut some of these teeny tiny bits of this film. Make it a short video.
27-year-old Matt McQuinn shielded his girlfriend Samantha Yowler from the gunfire inside the theater. Yowler remains in the hospital at this hour. 10 TV's Ashley Barry is live in the studio right now with more on how the community is reacting to this tragedy. Ashley?
Well, Chuck, obviously everybody is heartbroken. We spent all day in Clark and Champaign counties where the two are from originally. None of their family members were ready to speak about this horrific tragedy, but we are learning more about the two, how they met, why they were there that morning. Matt McQuinn grew up in Springfield, Ohio, and graduated from Vandalia Butler High School in 2004. He was employed at this Clark County Target for several years. He met his girlfriend, Samantha Yowler, here. The co-workers decided to explore a new opportunity with the company in Denver, Colorado. This was about 8 months ago. They'd be far from their parents, but not from Samantha's brother, Nick, who lives there. Family members say the couple was happy with the change and settling in well. On Friday morning, in an Aurora movie theater, that comfort turned to sheer terror and worse. The three were watching the midnight screening of Batman when police say James Egan Holmes opened fire. Matt and Nick dove to shield Samantha from the barrage of bullets. Family members say Matt did not make it out alive. Samantha suffered a gunshot wound to the knee, while her brother Nick was physically unharmed, but mentally shattered. A statement provided by both families' attorney reads in part, Matt went home to be with his maker. Our families need distance and time. We thank everyone for their love, prayers, and concern. The news of Matt's loss has this tightly knit community he grew up in reeling. Heather Newland and Tanya Arnold don't know the victims, but wanted to express their condolences and remark on what they call Matt's selfless act of bravery.
It's sad that that's the ending for him, especially when it's somebody who is still willing to help somebody else. So I guess the only upside to it is that it does show you there's still people willing to help out other people.
As a mother, you know, it's I can only imagine what, you know, his family is going through right now. My heart goes out to them.
Any bit of good news that comes out of this is this. Samantha Yowler right now is listed in fair condition at the hospital. It is not known when she'll be released. We're live in the studio. Ashley Berry, 10 TV News.
27-year-old Matt McQuinn shielded his girlfriend Samantha Yowler from the
Tragedy in Aurora. New information about the mass shooting.
from the chaos in the theater.
I see an awful lot of wires, trip wires, jars full of ammunition, jars full of liquid, things that look like mortar rounds. We have a lot of challenges to get in there safely.
And bomb technicians will resume the dangerous task of disarming this bomb trap in the morning. 5 apartment buildings have been evacuated. Kristen?
Here's the video about what would you do if...
The mass shooting inside that movie theater in Colorado prompted the same question people asked after the now infamous Columbine Massacre and the September 11th terrorist attacks. What would you do?
And that's a really good question. 10 TV's Maureen Kosat has advice from law enforcement on how to increase your chances of surviving an ambush attack.
Cell phone video captures the chaos inside the movie theater as people try to escape the confused violence. Police say there's little the victims could do to save themselves.
In situations like this, it's an ambush, and often you're not going to be able to react in enough time.
Columbus Police Negotiator and Public Information Officer Sergeant Rich Weiner says you can increase your chance of survival by deciding now what you'll do if it ever happens to you.
If you have a plan, you can make a split-second decision because you've already thought about it. It's kind of like training yourself. What will I do to survive? Once you start talking about a plan, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to rush this person? Should I wait for them to reload? Should I do it now? That's something that you're going to have to live with, and it could have deadly consequences.
Reports are surfacing now that someone inside the theater had the presence of mind to pull a fire alarm like this one. An action that took a second may have saved countless lives.
Weiner says that person clearly had a plan.
Just like Columbine, just like the 9/11 attacks, we start thinking about these things because they've happened. We need to learn from them. So now everyone needs to ask themselves, if I'm in a mall, if I'm in a movie theater, if I'm at church, something like this happens, what am I prepared to do?
Something for all of us to think about. Come up with a plan now, rather than in a moment of panic. Maureen Kosat, 10 TV News.
And just like when you're on a plane, he says you should make sure you know where the exits are wherever you are. It's also a good idea to find out if your employer has a crisis plan if something happens at your workplace.
Aurora police refused to